If you are a gay man working through your inner transformation journey, in this video I want to share with you 3 things I know better now than I did 1 year ago. And I know that when we are focused on working on ourselves, things can get very disorienting. Sometimes we think we're finally getting somewhere, only to find ourselves all lost and confused all over again. So today I want to offer you some clarity and hope, no matter what stage in your journey you're in. And before we start, I just want to let you know that I offer one-on-one coaching for gay men, and you can book a session with me using the link in the description of this video. Now let's get into it. And the first thing that I understand better now is that people see life through their own filters. And it might sound obvious to hearing me saying like that, but how many times have you felt frustrated trying to defend your point of view to someone? And the reality is that people see life through their own wounds, through their own fears, through their own belief systems, and through their own personal experiences. I do, you do it too, and the people that we interact are doing the same. And because of that, a lot of times it's pointless to force people to see life in the way that we're seeing. We can waste a lot of our energy in those type of discussions. Just becomes like two different people with two different points of view, just trying to defend their points. And there's no like understanding. It's just like a lot of waste of energy on both sides. And this can be very tricky because it can happen even in therapeutic contexts, even in a relationship with someone that you have in your life that's trying to help you. Let me briefly give an example of my relationship with my therapist, my previous therapist. Doing therapy for me was very helpful at a point in my life earlier in my journey. But in the last year or so, we weren't really understanding each other anymore. But I wasn't seeing that in that moment. She just couldn't understand what I was trying to say. She couldn't understand my point of view, my perspectives, and the things that I was feeling and experiencing at the time. And I wasn't seeing that she couldn't understand me. So over and over again, every week, I was trying to make me feel understood. I was in pain. I was trying to understand the process that I was going through. And I was hoping she could make me move through that discomfort and move me through those emotions that I was feeling. But she wasn't understanding me anymore, and I wasn't seeing. So I was wasting a lot of my energy trying to force her to see me. And I was going through my own confusions and through my own changes in that moment. And having that support in my life that was supposed to help me was making me even more confused because I was wasting energy trying to make myself feel understood in that relationship, and I wasn't. And the main idea here is not to say that conversations are useless, because they're definitely not. But in our journeys, it's important that we develop a sense of when a conversation or an interaction with someone is productive and energizing for us, and when it's not. And then in that case, it's time for us to let go and move on with our lives. And that also works the other way around. Sometimes it's the other person trying to force their worldview into us, trying to force a perspective into us. There's a lot of conflict that can be created when it's just two people arguing about their own perspectives, about their own beliefs, and it's not productive when the conversation goes in that route. So part of our maturity is developing the sense, when it's time to move on, when it's time to engage, when it's time to accept that it's just two different people with two different points of views and two different beliefs about life. And that is completely fine. So it's not our job to make ourselves being understood. It's our job to communicate clearly. And in this case, just disengage and move on with our lives. And something else that I've experienced quite a fair amount in my journey now is having to let go of past versions of myself. And honestly, letting go is hard as it's not an easy process at all. And in personal development, you're gonna hear a lot about letting go. Let go of the things that no longer serve you, let go of past versions of you, let go of people and situations and circumstances that no longer serves you. You're gonna hear that a lot in your journey, as if it's something empowering and liberating and something easy to do. I'm just move on and let go of all of that in my life. But growth often feels like losing at first. There's a lot of grief involved in growing and developing deeper layers of our identity, because it asks us that we let go of things that has been comfortable for us, things that matter to us, people, situations, an identity that matters to us. And we have to let go of all of that before we see something new to emerge. And it's not easy to let go of people that we love, to let go of a stable income, to let go of a career or a job that served you for a very long time, that gave you structure, that gave you meaning, that gave you comfortable life that you live now. It's not easy to let go of that. And that process is very lonely, it's very sad, it's very disorienting. And people in your life won't understand you. They're not understand the process you're going through. And you have to go through this process alone. And that process is very sad. And as gay men, we want to feel that we belong to a community. We want to feel that we are seen, that we are accepted by others. And in these in-between moments, which we're not seeing yet that new thing. We're not seeing what's possible for us yet. And we have to develop a lot of faith in ourselves, faith in our own process, because we have to remember what made us change in the first place. Because there was something that you felt uncomfortable before, something that triggered that change for you, something that triggered for you to move on. Maybe it was an addiction, maybe it was a belief system, maybe it was a lifestyle that it was draining you, that you didn't want that in your life anymore. And you are having to let go of all of that. But in this in-between phase, you're still not seeing the new thing yet. You're not seeing what's possible for you. You're just having to let go. And that is very sad and it's very lonely. And so my main message here is trust that the loneliness is temporary. It's part of your growth. It's part of this inner discovery, this inner journey that you're going through, because we have to clear space in our lives, clear space in our energy, in our mental capacity to absorb new information. And so before the new thing arrives, we have to clear, we have to let go, we have to remove everything that we no longer want in our lives. And the journey can be lonely, I know that. But trust that the new thing is gonna arrive and that phase is temporary. You're not gonna feel like this forever. And the third lesson that I'm embracing more now in my life is the concept that no one is coming to save me. And that means that I'm the only person responsible for my life. And it's not that I didn't know that before, but there's actually deeper layers, especially for us gay men, that we have a deeper need for external validation, that we want other people to validate us, that we want other people to see ourselves and to accept ourselves. So there's always deeper layers that we can go, and we find out that even when we're not intending to, we are also expecting people to give us permission to go ahead with life. But the truth of this concept is that as long as we keep waiting for other people to give us permission, other people to validate us, other people to understand us, or the other way around when we keep blaming other people for our situation, as long as we keep playing this game, we stay stuck. We stay in this limbo, in this paralysis, not knowing what to do with our lives, not knowing which direction to take. And the faster we accept this truth that no one is coming to save me and I'm responsible for my life, the fastest we can make decisions and we can take actions towards something that is important to us. And that is true even when we don't know what to do. Even when we don't know how to get from point A to point B, even when we don't know, that is also true. Because if we keep finding excuses for our situation or we're finding something to blame, we are giving away our power to those things. We're giving our energy away to those things. And we don't take responsibility for our own lives. But when we face this truth, no one is really coming to save me. And now, even if I don't know what to do, I take my power back. And I take the responsibility, I reclaim the ownership of my life, the agency of my life. And now I'm gonna find out what to do. And for a lot of gay men, this can be a hard pill to swallow at first, as it was for me. Because our need for external validation and approval, it's so merged in our identities that oftentimes we don't know that we're doing this. We don't know that we're expecting other people to see us, to tell us how good we are, to tell us how good we look. But in doing that, we are giving away our power to those things. And we lose our agency, we lose the capacity to change our lives. But when we take responsibility for our lives and we see the dynamics that we're playing and we take our power back in those things, that's when real change begins. That's when things start moving in your life again. You're gonna have ideas, you're gonna have the energy to research, to try different things and to think outside the box, because now you take responsibility for our life. And that shifts something in us, that when we are in a validation loop, things stay stuck. So all in all of these realizations, they sound simple to me right now, but it took me a long time, many years of frustration, many years of disappointment, of sadness, of loneliness to get to this place now. That people see life through their own filters. And sometimes it's a waste of energy trying to make our point across. And it's an important learning to know when to engage and know when to end and move on from a conversation. So remember, not every misunderstanding needs to be fixed or explained. I also don't fight back with the letting go process. It can be a very lonely journey and very disorienting quite often and painful. But letting go of past versions of ourselves, letting go sometimes of the comfort of people that is important to us in our lives, sometimes is a necessary process for our own growth. And we're gonna mature into something new after that sometimes we don't see yet. But don't fight back, because after a while we get to understand, the themes that we're exploring, the issues that we're healing, the very deep wounds that we're healing. And sometimes we need to be in solitude for that to process. And last but not least, I embrace the concept that no one is coming to save me. I take full responsibility for my life. If there's something that's bothering me, if there's something that I'm not happy with about in my own life, it is my responsibility to change and no one else's. And I think that a big part of growing as a gay man is stop fighting life as it is. Stop forcing people to understand us. to stop fighting against the sadness and the grief that comes with change, and to stop resisting the changes that need to take place in your life. That's where real freedom begins for you. See you in the next one.